following slides are covering how the literacy coach can support math content teachers. As stated earlier, math has a language all its own. The symbols that represent the language in math are just as important as the letters and words. And for this reason, word problems, when switching back and forth between math language and the English spoken language, are often very difficult for students to understand. In the previous slides, we broke down the structure of math textbooks. This would be extremely helpful for math teachers to understand how the textbook is set up before they teach their content to their students. Literacy coaches can provide great support to math content teachers. The next few slides will give strategies for how the coach can provide this help to the math teacher. In the following slides, we'll see some challenges and strategies in math word problems. Oftentimes, there's unfamiliar vocabulary. Students have a hard time understanding what exactly is being asked of them because of confusing words. For instance, in a word problem where someone swam laps, a student may not understand what laps are because they've never swam laps in a pool before. So a strategy would be to have the students ignore some of the unfamiliar or confusing words and just go right to the rest of the word problem. Also, that can be confusing to students are some names. Names like Mr. Gomez or Ms. Rodriguez that they've never heard before, that's not in their normal everyday vocabulary, can distract them from what is really important in the word problem. A strategy could be to have the students substitute the first letter in the name with their own name or someone that they're familiar with. And sentence structure and syntax. Math textbooks can be very confusing because they're written in a compositional, not conversational English. So a strategy might be to have the students fill in a chart or a series of steps answering questions to solve the problem, which you'll see on the next page. There's a chart called an SQ, RQ, CQ. And basically that's an acronym for survey, question, reread, question, compute, and question again. Other challenges are math terminology. A lot of math terms are very difficult for students. They don't understand. They can't decode the language. So a strategy for this could be teaching math vocabulary beforehand. This has been shown to prove student performance on math tests improve impeccably and better than it has been before. So invite your students to create their own poster or placemat as a memory guide. Multiple math operations. Some word problems have multiple steps, and when students do, sometimes they get tripped up by them. So they may not understand that more than one step is needed. A strategy for this would be to have the students change the text of the problem to something that interests them, but not the numbers. They can also sketch a picture or draw a map of what they need step by step. Visuals often help for understanding. Also, words and numbers. Often math word problems blend words and numbers to create confusion. Strategy for this would be to have students compose their own math word problem, or a comic strip, or a story, or another way for them to understand how writers blend words and numbers together. Also, visual displays of information. Word problems may require students to read and interpret graphs, charts, and other visuals. So what would be helpful for them is to design and construct their own graph or visual about something that interests them, something other than a math word problem. And that way, when they see these charts and graphs in the word problems, they would become familiar with them. For English language learners, students should participate in tasks that require them to use the mathematical language and understand its meaning. Scaffolding instruction can provide opportunities to communicate and negotiate meaning for math situations and develop thinking processes. These strategies are just a few examples and challenges that word problems present. Literacy coaches and teachers may need strategies to help their students improve their skills in reading and math. Being flexible and creative will help understand the language of words and numbers in math word problems. So I believe that teachers and literacy coaches can work together. The math teacher is the expert in the math content, and the literacy coach is the expert in the strategies. And if they work together, it can only prove to be beneficial for all of their students.